According to declassified CIA documents, aliens committed a revenge massacre after a UFO was shot down. What? Here's a look at read more. Aliens must exist beyond Earth, leading scientist insists. Part of me wants to believe that if aliens do exist, they're well beyond the impulsive behavior of engaging in revenge massacres. I was watching Star Trek The Next Generation the other day. I started it over. It's probably the 6th or 7th time I've watched the full series. And it's, for those that don't know, I have a young baby daughter. She's a month old, and I got to get her started on Trek as soon as you can. TNG specifically. But more importantly, in the first episode, for those that don't know, basically the Enterprise, the spaceship, there's people working on it. It's like militaristic, but not, it's naval tradition, but not overtly militaristic. And they encounter a powerful being that puts a force field around them. And the captain is like, let's try and break through the barrier, like not straight through it. They try to go around it and escape the entity. And it's like this entity straight up nearly froze one of their crewmen to death, clearly exerting powers beyond their comprehension. And I'm just saying, like, at that point, the appropriate thing is to assess, retreat. You are engaging with a hostile force. You know what you're doing. So when I see this story and it's like aliens committed a revenge massacre, I don't know. If something did happen, I doubt it was just revenge, because any intelligent species would be like, let's assess the situation. A bone-chilling document declassified by the CIA has exposed an alleged massacre by aliens from a crashed UFO who turned an entire military unit into stone. Jeez. According to the report, Soviet troops shot down a flying saucer hovering over the Soviet military unit in Siberia roughly 35 years ago. And what happened next was terrifying. In the document, summarizing a 250-page top-secret file acquired by U.S. intelligence agents, eyewitnesses said 5 aliens climbed out of the wrecked aircraft, combined themselves into one creature, exploded in a burst of intense energy, and turned 23 soldiers into solid rock. What? There's no way this is real. One CIA official referred to the shocking battle as a horrific picture of revenge on the part of an extraterrestrial creature. A picture that makes one's blood freeze. The agency added that the extremely menacing case proved the aliens who visited Earth possessed weapons and technology far beyond the U.S. government's assumptions, suggesting they were already aware of the aliens' existence. The unearthed document, declassified in 2000, was recently the topic of the AI or Evil podcast, where host Josh Hooper revealed that 2 of the soldiers at the UFO crash site actually survived. The 23 petrified soldiers could not be saved. Their remains and the debris from the spacecraft were reportedly moved to a secret research base near Moscow. An even more detail, whatever, typo, of the CIA file is description of the aliens reportedly involved in the massacre has been mentioned in UFO reports and sightings for nearly 80 years. Take a look at this. Here's a document. Look at this picture. Come on, dude. And there is a flaming alien ship with a gray alien, very upset. The subject of the document states, paper reports alleged evidence on mishap involving UFO. The extraordinary tale was also published in the Ukrainian newspaper Holos Ukraini on March 27, 1993. The incident, which a Canadian newspaper believed took place between 1989 and 1990, was only uncovered by the CIA after the fall of the Soviet Union and its secret police organization, the KGB. The CIA document explained that the alleged alien craft was flying low and quietly above the Soviet unit while they were engaged in a training mission. Officials wrote that for unknown reasons, the Soviets launched a surface-to-air missile at the UFO, sending it crashing to the Earth near the unit's position. According to the only 2 soldiers who survived, when the soldiers approached the craft, the 5 aliens freed themselves of the debris, came close together near the wreck. Moments later, the soldiers said the group of aliens merged into a single object that acquired a spherical shape. In simpler language, the alien being somehow morphed into a giant ball. Yo, what? That's when the new ball-like alien began to buzz and hiss before igniting into a brilliant white light. With the soldiers still looking on, the ball of light erupted like a giant flare of energy, turning 23 of the 25 Soviets into stone poles. The report stated that the only reason 2 of the men survived was because they were standing in a shaded area at the time of the alien energy blast. Wow. Testing of the soldiers' bodies showed the alien flare had somehow changed living tissue into a substance that closely resembles limestone. The CIA document added that a source of energy that is still unknown to Earthlings was responsible for the blast, which fatally transformed the Soviets. Even in 2025, the science behind such a shocking transformation is still difficult to explain medically and technologically. According to the Journal of Applied Physics, it is possible to use high-energy radiation or electromagnetic pulses to change normal matter into plasma, a form that's not liquid, solid, or gas. Yeah, you're basically supercharging the particles. In the report, the CIA described the aliens as short humanoids with large heads and large black eyes that morphed into a giant sphere and fired an energy blast. Their feature, they say the account matches what UFO researchers alleged alien abductees and others who believe in alien life refer to as a race called the Greys. Their features have become the classic image of the public thinks when discussing aliens from outer space. A small, skinny, gray-skinned alien with an oversized head and large black eyes with no iris. The Greys would eventually become linked to the infamous Roswell incident, blah, blah, blah. We get it. These strange creatures would also go on to represent alien life in countless science fiction. Yeah, we get it. Okay, I don't believe it for a second. What I will say is, look at all these stories that they have actually on Daily Mail as I'm passing through this. Flat earthers in shambles after seeing new footage of our planet. Okay. I don't know that it's completely false, right? I don't believe it. I think you're more likely to encounter the Soviet Union planting false documents to upset and terrify the United States. So there's a story, they made a movie about it. It's called The Men Who Stare at Goats, the Stargate Project. The story goes something like the United States was trying to trick Russia into thinking we had psychic powers, so they leaked fake information to the Russians about us developing psychic powers. The Russians then created a unit to research psychic powers. When the U.S. found out, a different department, that Russia was trying to develop psychic powers, they created their own department to try and develop psychic powers. Thus, you ended up with what was supposed to be a hoax turning into us wasting our time. We tricked ourselves. The funny thing is, a lot of the stories that we end up getting about the CIA finding Noah's Ark or the Ark of the Covenant, which are stories that we recently covered on this channel, is they used remote viewing. That is, for those that don't know, you close your eyes and you use your psychic powers to see things somewhere else in the universe. Hey, look, man, maybe this stuff's all possible. We shouldn't dismiss these things outright. It is the fool who hears this story and then laughs and says it certainly could not be true. Now, I think it's very unlikely to be true. That being said, there is a sort of logic behind all of this, and that makes it more challenging. That is, if there is a sufficiently advanced race that was watching us, they wouldn't want to be known to us because that would compromise the experiment. If they're, for instance, when we observe animals, we try to do so in ways that does not disturb the animals because it alters their behavior. So if there are aliens studying us and trying to figure out our defense capabilities, our strategies, our way of life, what we do, they do not want us to know they're watching. It would change our behaviors. And that's a universal scientific issue, I suppose. To truly understand a species or a being or a creature or an event, you do not want to interfere with it. Thus, if aliens do exist, they certainly aren't going to pop out and tell us. But I wonder, this story is certainly one of the more extreme, to be completely honest. So I'm wondering where any of the evidence actually is. So if aliens have come and have visited us and all of that, you'd think there would be at a certain point an overwhelming amount of evidence, unless we're just unwilling to believe it. How many people claim to have been abducted? How many witnesses have claimed they've seen it? Unfortunately for us, sometimes people are crazy, and more often than not, people lie. Yeah. So I'll tell you this politically. When you hear stories like this, to be honest, when you hear any story, just think about all the grifters that exist. Yeah, these people who go on these channels and just say whatever they need to say to make money. Then you can look at the people who claim aliens are real and you can say, man, unless you can prove it, I just don't believe it. So until there's a public display of alien bodies, what is there to believe? You also got to mention that Bigfoot, for instance, maybe Sasquatch is real. And people say that, how come no one's seen it? Because it's a rare creature, if it is. Probably not. And the people who see it decide not to share anything. I don't know. What can you say? People who thought elephants were fake. People thought the platypus was fake until enough people saw the body. You know, when they first sent a platypus back to the UK from, I think, New Zealand or something, they thought it was a joke. They thought they stitched parts together. Yeah, no, that's a real animal. Indeed. All right, my friends, I'll wrap it up there. Stay tuned. Come back for Timcast IRL at 8 p.m., and we will see you all then.